Hey, McFly subscribers. So, I am going to be fishing the Guadalupe River. So I came up, I actually went to a little fly shop and I talked with them and they told me where to go. And it's a little park, well, kind of a big park actually, up in the north end of San Antonio here. However, I got there and the gate was closed and I'm not really sure what time it opens. There's no sign that says when it's open and I did not ask that when I was at the fly shop. So I drove around a little bit, found a little gas station, and asked, and they said, well, sorry, it's a busy highway right here. They said, if you go down this way, there's a bridge, and you can park by the bridge, which is where I'm at. Busy highway. I'm gonna head down a little bit and finish this up, so that way you guys can hear me. And I'll talk while I'm walking, actually. In my luggage, the only thing that fit was my little 6-piece 3-weight. So the airlines are a little picky on what you can bring. And they wanted a ridiculous amount of money for something oversized. They consider a fly rod an oversized luggage, the normal fly rod, and you have to actually stick it in your bag. Well, our bag did not fit anything other than this 3-weight. Making sure I'm locking the car, which I did. All right. The 3-weight is pretty light. Let's be honest. It's really made for small trout. It'll be fine for bluegill, which are in here. So it is summertime, and that means that it is hot. Right now, it's super early in the morning. I mean, it hasn't even hit 8 o'clock. I think it's like 7:30 right now. And it's like almost 80 degrees already. It's gonna be pushing about 95 today. And this water is too warm for trout. Now, in the winter, they do stock it with trout. But they're not gonna be here. And if they are, they're dying or dead or whatever. They're just, they stock them in the fall. And then by spring, they kind of die off, or it's just not catchable. This is not the time of year to catch trout. But there are small bass. There's large bass too, supposedly, which I'm not going to be able to bring in a 3-weight. But this 3-weight will do fine for bluegill, small bass, stuff like that. So I got a bully bluegill right there, pattern, and a little Chernobyl ant as an indicator on top. And I think that's what I'll start with. Of course, I've got a wide range of flies with me, which I will be trying throughout the day, including some small streamers and whatnot, but everything has to be able to get out with this 3-weight, which is not easy with big flies. So definitely not wind-resistant poppers and whatnot. So, here's the river. It's kind of slow at this part. Supposedly there's some speed in the river a little further down. Well, actually, that's not true. The water flow is just super low, and there is more flow later in the season. That's all right. I don't know if there's going to be fish or not right here, but just the guy at the convenience shop, gas station, told me to come here, so we'll see how it goes. I don't know. I have not fished this. I don't know where to go, what to do, but I'm just going to give it a try. Let's get out there and try to catch some fish. So, from fishing warm water situations in the past, I know that you really want to look for structure. This overpass footing seems like as good a place as any. Now, I'm not cutting this because I wanted you to see just how quick I hooked into a fish. Seriously, this was the first cast. And right about at this moment, I knew I had something big on. Well, big at least for a 3-weight. I really wish the reel was in view the whole time, because this thing strip dragged like crazy. With a big fish like this, don't ever do what I just did, which is hold the rod further up from the grip. You could break the rod. Yep, that's right, a catfish. On the fly. So that was actually a pretty good size one too, considering it was on a 3-weight rod. What a fun fight. And that's what it bit, the red bully bluegill fly. So now I go to fish other spots and hit the banks for bass and bluegill. That's a pretty little panfish. Boy, he swallowed that fly. I later switched to a small popper like this one, and had a few bluegill on it, and this one was the larger of them. Well, I'm going to try to find another spot, maybe another bridge like this where I can park, or I might go back to the actual park where I was told to go. It's probably open now, but I left the house at like 5:30 this morning, and I was going to start at around 6:30. It was about an hour drive, but it wasn't open, so I drove around for an hour and found this after the gas station attendant told me to come here. But I'm going to see if I can't maybe go back there or find another spot like this. So I think I would have caught a lot more if I would have gotten here early. I was noticing that right in the morning, there was a little more action closer in. The way that the sun was, it was putting a shadow into about half of the lake, and there were fish outside of the shadow, but it's gotten so hot now, it's 90 degrees, and it's only 10 o'clock. It's gonna get to about 95. I'm hot, and the fish are too, so they go into the shade, sometimes go deeper. And I think I would have caught a lot more if I would have gotten here early, if I didn't dilly-dally, trying to find a place to go. I really don't even know where I'm at. Luckily I've got GPS on my phone to be able to find my way back. I'm kind of somewhere. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, really. But it's nice. It wasn't bad fishing. I couldn't believe I got a catfish. That was amazing. And, you know, a couple bluegill. I had quite a few hits, but most of them were really small and they couldn't get the fly in their mouth. And I didn't really care about catching really itty-bitty ones. So maybe the next spot I go to will have some deeper pockets with some bigger bluegill. So we'll see. So I went back to the park and it was finally open. By the way, it costs $7 to enter, just FYI. And the park is called Guadalupe River State Park, in case you wanted to come here. It's very pretty here, and I think it would be way better fishing if the water flow was a bit more. But I was still able to catch a few small bluegill anyway. This one on a Chernobyl ant. Another on a Chernobyl, probably one of the prettier ones of the day. on the bully bluegill fly. By the way, it was difficult to make casts here. The river was tree-lined. So I caught quite a few panfish here, but no bass. I actually only saw a single bass all day, but I did have to head back home for dinner as it was getting late. This is another park that the fly shop told me about, but to be honest, I have no clue how to get there again. It was a lot of turns. Right when I walked up, I saw a nice little run that dumped into a large pool. And I wasn't messing around this time. I put on a soft hackle bugger and decided to streamer fish, which I figured would attract more bass than bluegill. And I was right, within a few casts I hook a bass. I mean, not really the target species. I was hoping for a Guadalupe bass, and they can only be caught in this river from what I'm told. Well, okay, I guess I can catch bluegill on a small streamer. And here, everything fell apart. So I foul hooked this bass, then my nippers fell in front of the camera, and my rod handle fell off. Oh, and the fish jumped out of my hands before I could get a good view of it for you. Oh well. Another smallmouth. Now you guys tell me if I'm wrong. These look like smallmouth to me, but if they're not, could these possibly be Guadalupe bass? Okay, so that was the last bass I hooked. Then I went exploring elsewhere, and ended up at this river. Turns out it's not the Guadalupe River, but there were some bluegill in it, and with the topwater beetle pattern, I hooked quite a few. So overall, I had a great time fishing out in Texas. I mean, the Guadalupe River is warm, so it's nice to wet wade, especially since the temperatures were pushing 100 outside. And even though there were no large bass caught, I did give my 3-weight a nice workout on that catfish, which I might never be able to catch again, so a good experience for sure. Okay, well, thanks for coming along with me on my trip to San Antonio. For any of you that have fished the Guadalupe before and could tell me some more tips, please do so. Next time I go out and visit the in-laws in San Antonio, I will definitely try this river once again. So I will see you guys on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.